Hi, I'm Stu, and this evening's short story is The White Page, pamphlet number 9 by GANTOB, which is an acronym for Grapefruits Are Not the Only Bombs. The story takes the form of a letter to the Tillerman and goes as follows. Dear Tillerman, here is GANTOB's answer to the second version of question 2 in your short questionnaire. To help her avoid the disappointment of answering incorrectly a second time, she set up an elaborate ruse to communicate her response. This pamphlet is not the only copy, however. She hopes that it reaches you. First, she will need to try to remember what she has written, learning from a point she made in her email-only pamphlet number 8 previously. The question was, what did you learn from your reenactment? This response starts, as did her reenactment of Grapefruits Are Not the Only Bombs, with a white page, a blank, emptiness. She cannot even remember the first words that she wrote in her first draft of the book, GANTOB. Grapefruits Are Not the Only Bombs. She does remember she was writing late in the evening in the Highlands. She wrote for 2 nights, spending the days with her family, but even then searching for the quotes that would populate the book. She remembers pressing send to you, Tillerman, and one other person for permission to proceed after she had completed the first draft, and that you, Tillerman, had pertinent points that meant she had to redraft the first section. Your questions sharpened up her writing and led to the great paper chase and destruction that ensued. Her first idea had been to leave the 23 copies of the book to find their rightful home at a gathering that would have included about that number of people potentially interested in the topic, but with no personalisation of the quotes within. Instead, after your feedback, Tillerman, GANTOB has sourced questions from 30 plus correspondents, and she now has more than enough material to produce a book that will be meaningful, she hopes, to 23 people who have been searching for the GANTOB-shaped hole in their lives. That, of course, is a difference between her reenactment and the original fictional GANTOB, which appears in the mythical book 2023, a trilogy by the Justified Ancients of Only. In the latter, by the Dams, the recipients were certainly not looking for the book Grapefruits Are Not the Only Bombs. It landed with them. The promotion of the idea, the recruitment of the 23 if you like, has taken up a lot of time. First, she rather garbled her first announcement. She was caught up with the idea, keen to get the message out there. There was some ridicule on social media. There were too many questions and answers. She would have stopped there and asked you to delete the tweet, but she felt that the idea was good and could be salvaged. She set out to explain this mission, writing what she thought would be the only pamphlet and stating what KLF fans might connect with, a countrywide paper chase and opportunity to fill some gaps in their collection. She has enjoyed the intellectual and practical challenges of all this, unpicking the meaning of the words, sourcing raw materials to allow enough GANTOB drops, and devising ways of achieving countrywide coverage without breaking anonymity or the bank. A series of trips and some new contacts meant that she achieved this and more. She thinks that she has generated mystery, excitement and interest, albeit with a relatively small group of people. This has been achieved through a cloak of anonymity and a developing story of who GANTOB is. This process has fueled her creative juices. As she writes this, she is nearing the end of her 10th pamphlet that is around 10,000 words. There are also dozens of emails and social media posts. Instagram and X have been time consuming and generated a little bit of interest, but the emails have been the most rewarding part of this. Hearing people's ideas, helping refine them, as you, Tillerman, did with her first ideas, and then responding to some of the questions because they seem to be looking for that. Questions about illness, purpose, family difficulties, and the more trivial, which she responded to lightly. Once she has selected the 23 questions, she will have a lot more thinking to do about how to make appropriate responses. The response from a few key people has been phenomenal. Caroline in Edinburgh entered into the spirit of the most elaborate paper chase, and Margate Bookshop helped with the mystery building in ways that unfolded unexpectedly. And she has destructed her collection, generating some mental and physical space for future creative exploits. The end. That was an adaptation of The White Page, a pamphlet by GANTOB, pamphlet number 9, which was preparation for her book, Grapefruits Are Not the Only Bombs, a reenactment of the mythical book mentioned in 2023, a trilogy by the Justified Ancient of New Moon. This book, GANTOB's White Page pamphlet, this adapted pamphlet, and this bedtime story have all been produced as part of the KLF Re-enactment Society. If you wish to create your own pamphlet for GANTOB and her 2024 project 52 pamphlets, there will be a link in the description below about what to do and how to apply. Until then, sleep well, don't get confused, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.